Cuda Chronicles episode 2. Today we're going to be talking about engine oils. So it's a warm December day here in Arizona. It's about 75 degrees out, and I'm keeping myself hydrated with fluids. And just how your body needs to stay hydrated to stay cool, so does your engine. And that's where engine oils come in. So engine oils serve a number of functions. First, they help keep your engine cool because they circulate through the system, gathering heat that's generated from the friction between the moving parts, and they move that heat away from the engine to somewhere it can be cooled. So this can be in the oil pan, or if your car has one, I recently added an oil cooler to my engine, which is essentially another radiator to send some quantity of oil to near the front of the car so that air can passively move over that radiator, those fins, cool the oil before it gets sent back. So I live in a really hot climate. Chances are you may not need a dedicated oil cooler for your vehicle, but for the temperatures we experience here in the South, an oil cooler was definitely necessary to help keep the engine cool. Oil cools your engine. It also lubricates. If you didn't have any oil in your engine, you'd have metal parts moving and rubbing up against each other at really high speeds, begin to rub away material between those two surfaces to a point where the engine would fail in pretty short order. That would happen really quick. So the engine oil helps lubricate. It also helps clean. There's often detergents in the oil. There's other additives in there that grab particulates and build up in soot and pull it away from those moving parts so they can be collected and taken out of your engine at your next oil change. So engine oils come in multiple viscosities. You'll read your user manual to figure out what type of engine oil you need. I'm running in my 72 Cuda. This right here, it's Valvoline VR1 full synthetic. So there's conventional and there's full synthetic. Some differences between them. Typically the synthetic is going to be more expensive, but it's going to last longer. And most people agree it's probably better for your engine in the long run. And you can go longer between oil changes. So I do run a full synthetic in my Cuda, and I run, it's a racing oil, but I run it specifically because it has a high zinc content. I have a flat tappet cam in my vehicle as opposed to a roller hydraulic cam, and I need that zinc content because a flat tappet is making a lot more direct contact with that rotating mass in the middle, and so it needs the zinc to act as a lubricant to protect those flat moving parts that are going to be touching one another. So I run this. Chances are you'll run something a little more modern than this. You won't need racing oil in yours, but in the summer I run, you can see right there, it is 20W50. So if you know anything about engine oils, that is really thick. So it's a number, W number, 20W50. The W stands for winter. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a winter oil. It just means that is the viscosity of the oil when your engine is cool. So the lower this number, the more fluid it's going to be. The more it's going to behave like water. Whereas if the number is higher, it's going to behave more like honey. Tolerances in modern engines allow for more fluid oils because the tolerances between those moving parts are really small. My tolerances are pretty large. You know, a car made more than half a century ago. I need a thicker oil to run in there. Chances are you're not going to need anything nearly this thick. And even for my car, this is kind of on the thick end of things. It's about the thickest you can get. We're right up there next to Death Valley as far as temperatures go. So this is the kind of oil we have to run here if we're going to drive our cars in the summer. In the winter, though, it's nice and chilly out. As I said, 75 degrees today. I'm going to switch my oil out to this thinner oil, which is the exact same content. It is full synthetic. It's VR1. It has the high zinc content, but you'll notice this is a 10W30. I recently installed an oil gauge in my car, and I found that my oil pressure is a little high for my liking. I didn't have an oil pressure gauge before. It only had what's called an idiot light. It basically is a light that illuminates when there's no oil pressure, but it doesn't tell me if my oil pressure is too high. After installing that, I now know my oil is too high to run this oil, the 20W50, year round. So I need to start using this in the summer and then switching to the thinner oil for my winter driving. As engine oils warm up, they get thinner. As they cool down, they get thicker. So this thick oil doesn't really get to the profile it needs to be to run efficiently in my engine, and I can feel it when I'm driving it. I feel that thick oil kind of pulling the engine back. And it's just not good for the seals and the gaskets to run at that higher oil pressure. A thicker oil is going to increase your oil pressure. Just because it just doesn't get that hot right now, I'm gonna run a thinner oil so the engine can run a little more easily. But once it gets to summertime, I suspect this will be too thin and I'll have to switch back to the thicker oil. So an oil change twice a year may be overkill, but hey, it's my baby and I'm gonna make sure that she is taken care of. So there you go, that's engine oils. I'm gonna go ahead and swap those out right now. My oil pressure is pretty high. It does decrease as the engine warms up a little bit, but while I'm driving, it's still creeping up a little bit high. So I'm gonna change it out and see how that affects my oil pressure. One quick note about getting your car up in the air, you want to make sure you're using some wheel chocks. Now I do have the parking brake on, but these wheel chocks here are safety insurance, so these will keep the car from rolling anywhere. Now on this vehicle, the parking brake is on the rear, which is where it is for most vehicles, but still a set of wheel chocks is not a bad idea. And even if you love and trust your jack, you always want to make sure that you are also using a set of jack stands. I typically like to leave the jack unless it's in the way, just as a backup, and then I feel comfortable climbing under the car. So I have the Cuda up in the air right now. I have unplugged the oil pan drain plug, and the oil is currently draining into that catch pan down there. You can take that to your auto parts store, they'll recycle it for you. You just got to make sure there's nothing else in there. They won't take it if there's coolant. So once that finishes, looks like it's almost done, I will put the plug back in and fill it up from the top on the valve covers. All right, while that oil is draining, I'm going to tell you a little bit about oil filters. Now, I typically do an oil filter change every time I change the oil. That's probably excessive. Every other time is probably sufficient, but it depends how much you drive. I put maybe 1,000 to 2,000 miles on my car a year, which is not very much. And again, I just put in an oil cooler and replaced the oil and filter at the same time, not even a month ago. So I'm going to hold on to this for when I go back to my summer oil in a couple months. But I can use it and show it to you for demonstration purposes. The oil comes in here, and there's a membrane, a filter material in there that grabs particulates and keeps them from going into your engine. This is a shorty filter. I had to put this on because I added a sandwich plate that goes between this and the block, so I can have ports that go out to my new oil cooler. So I had to have a shorty filter so that this doesn't conflict with my headers. Actually, I think it's the torsion bars that this conflicts with. Anyway, I have a shorter filter, which means this has less cleaning potential. So I will probably do an oil filter change at every oil change. So every 6 months, that's probably every 1,000 miles or so. Again, that's way overkill. You don't need to do it that often. I choose to. It's cheap insurance for me to keep this old car running smoothly. 20 bucks every 6 months, not a big deal. After your first drive, make sure it's not leaking. If it's not leaking, then you're good. A lot of nicer ones actually have a little 1/4 inch or 3/4 nub on the bottom that you can grab onto and turn. But yeah, that's the oil filter. Its job is to clean those particulates out of your engine oil. And then you replace that and get rid of that when you change your oil. To put this on, it just screws into place, and you lightly lubricate this gasket here on the top with a little bit of the oil that you're planning to put into your engine. Push that in there firmly, tighten it down, and you're good to go. Pretty easy to do. So with that, my engine oil is probably done, so let's start filling it up. All right, this is my engine. It's a Mopar 340 V8 small block. You can fill up the oil either from the passenger side where the PCV valve is, or here on the driver's side where the breather valve is. I actually swapped those for aesthetic reasons. I can get into that in another video, but essentially you can fill it up by just pulling this off. I lubricated this with engine oil last time I put it on, so it's nice and easy to take off. And it will typically take 4 quarts in the block, 5 quarts with an oil filter change, and then 1 more quart I estimate for the lines in the new oil cooler radiator that I added. So if this were completely empty, it should take 6 quarts total. I suspect there's probably a quart's worth still in the oil cooler and lines, and probably another quart's worth in that filter. So this should take maybe 3 to 4 quarts of oil. As I fill up, I'm going to constantly be checking it and make sure that the levels are correct. So let's begin filling. All right, so this is that 10W30 that I put in here. Valvoline full synthetic, high zinc content. It's racing oil, but it works all the same for us. And the first thing you'll notice as I start to pour, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's actually this really pretty blue color. Whenever someone's with me helping to work on the Cuda and we're changing the oil, it's always the first thing they notice, like, whoa, your engine oil is blue. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I didn't know that when I started pouring it the first time. I was like, uh-oh, is that right? But yeah, it's just this nice, pretty blue color. It runs great. It seems to really like this oil, and it keeps it cool. High zinc content, which is what we need for our flat tappet cam. And yeah, so that's 1 quart. I want to make sure I get all this out of there so we have an accurate idea of how much we've put in. This is 1 quart here. I'll add 2 more for a total of 3, and then check our oil level and see where we're at. All right, so we'll pull this out, wipe it clean. This is our dipstick. Put it back in, pull it back out, take a look, and we are Probably still a quart shy, which is what I suspected. So we'll add one more and check again. All right, well, I'm glad we finished that up relatively without issue. We spilled a little bit, so I'm going to lay down some kitty litter and try to absorb some of that, try to be a good neighbor and not leave that oil there in the street. But yeah, we're done. I drove the car around. The oil pressure has come down to an acceptable level. Depend on your drivetrain, what your car needs as far as oil pressure is concerned. But for me, seeing about 10 PSI for every 1,000 RPM is about what you want to see, and that's what I'm getting now. So I'm glad to see that this thinner oil works. The car seems to be a lot happier with it. I'll continue to run this thinner oil until the summer months come. It starts to heat up around here, and if I see that oil pressure get just a little bit too low, then I'll swap it out for the more viscous stuff. But yeah, that's how to change oil in a 1972 Plymouth Barracuda. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Or if you have suggestions, I'm still relatively new to this, so I'm happy to accept any suggestions. And don't forget to follow us on our various social media platforms. If you like these storage units you see behind me, this wall storage here, you can also find links to that in the video description. That's called Wall Control, and they're a friend of the channel. And if you see any of the equipment that I use and you want to get it for yourself, we also have an Amazon storefront where you can buy those. So there you go. Thanks for watching.